Alright guys, I know this is going to be a very weird video, but I just wanted to talk about a little fictional story I came up with that came along in my head when I was going over the whole lore that is of Glove World in SpongeBob. I come to see that Glove World can metaphorically be described as a story of a mother, a father, and a son with a lot of problems. Now, the mother is represented by pre-movie SpongeBob. She's the one that created Glove World. You know, because that's the first time we see Glove World in the Season 1 episode Rock Bottom from pre-movie SpongeBob. The mother is immediately leaving the child after birth. You can tell because immediately after we see Glove World, SpongeBob and Patrick are leaving to go to the homes, like to leave. She's abandoning Glove World, her child, bringing only a little pieces of for sentiment, a little bit of sentiment, which are the balloon, the glove candy, and the glove hat. These are to reminder of her child as she goes on life without him. But notice how immediately when she leaves, she ends up reaching rock bottom. She is unable to escape rock bottom no matter what she does. Tries running away, can't do it. Tries getting driven away, metaphorically speaking, can't do it. There's no way she can get out. Everybody around her is of constant not liking of her, really. Constantly giving her unappealing looks. Hinting that she doesn't, that she doesn't have a good reputation going on for leaving her child. The people know that she left their child and are ridiculing her, which is why she can't seem to get a bus back to where she needs to be, and why she's stuck at rock bottom, and why the people aren't helping her. But then, one nice fellow who found a piece of her sentiment that she left behind while at rock bottom, gives it to her and reminds her, which is the balloon, that you gotta go back. If you want to get out of rock bottom, you gotta go back to your son. SpongeBob, which is the mother, SpongeBob is going to represent the parents a lot in this. Anyway, is given the balloon, and the balloon takes her all the way out of rock bottom. She realizes that she needs to be with her son. However, Glove World, as you will notice, is never seen in pre-movie SpongeBob ever again. That's because the mother decided to, be with her son, but ignore him, basically. Act like he doesn't exist, but is still there with him. Does that make sense? Well, because that's what you're gonna get out of the story. Eventually, the pre-movie era ends. When the pre-movie era ends, it's basically the mother that metaphorically portrays the mother of once again abandoning the child despite what she learned in rock bottom. This time when she abandons him, she's gone for good and is left in charge of the father. The father, not even knowing that he had a son with her, goes on to try and raise him. That father being post-movie SpongeBob. You don't see Glove World anywhere in Season 4, but you will in Season 5, which is when the child turns 5 years old. By this point, after a couple of years of production, which is the father trying to raise the son, not ignore him like the mother, he gives us the episode Roller Cowards, which is basically the father trying to let the son go out for the first time on his own to see how well he does in society, out in the real world, just for one day, see how things go, after raising him and teaching him the ways of life. However, the son has a lot of mental issues caused by being raised by the mother. Hey, maybe that's what happens when the production crew completely abandons Glove World after just one little episode and a little bit of being in said episode. The production crew doesn't know what to do with it when they come up with remembering him, which is represented by the story. And these mental issues of the child are represented by the fiery Fisto Pain, which is in the show is hurting people. That's basically the child's mental problems giving him episodes in which he hurts people. However, despite that, the episode still turns out to be a rather good episode, both within the episode and outside the episode. Everything seems to turn out good for both critics, audiences, and the people within the episode itself, within Glove World. So in the end, even with his behavioral issues, people still seem to like him out there, to be seen out there in the real world. And they want to see him again. But the father doesn't want to see him hurt anybody, so he's trying to fix his improvements, which is why you don't end up seeing him again for a while. The child is left out of society again, but the father is still trying his best to raise the child to not cause any problems again. By age 7, which is season 7, we get to hear Glove World again, in the episode Tunnel of Glove. This is basically the child being put out in society again, but this time the son seems to really be interested in the concept of love. He's around that age, right? 7? Seems a little young, but just go with it. And decides to try and get his parents together by using the Tunnel of Glove, which represents him trying to get his mother and father together through basic love cliches and stuff. His mother and father are represented by SpongeBob and Pearl in the episode. But as you can see, the two obviously don't like each other, and that's shown within the actual episode. And as the two are in the Tunnel of Glove, you notice how the Tunnel of Glove ends up turning evil? Yeah, that's the child having behavior problems again. As soon as problems start happening to the Tunnel of Glove, the police show up. That's because the child's behavior gets so terrible that the police end up having to get involved. But in the end, the child ends up having a big meltdown, which completely kills his desire of love, which is represented by the Tunnel of Glove blowing up. It's so terrible that not even the police want to deal with it and run off. The parents are left by themselves with the child, and agree that it's best not really to see each other again like this. Which makes sense, as Pearl's never seen a Glove World ever again. I can't really think of much to really explain that metaphor there, but just keep going with it. This is the best I got. I mean, I'm just coming up with a random story here. I don't know why. I just felt like making a video on this, really, to explain how I feel about Glove World, really. I mean, it just came up in my head one night, and I remembered the story and decided to make this video, okay? Anyway, now back to it. So then the next time we see Glove World is in the episode, The Abrasive Side. In The Abrasive Side, You notice how you don't actually see Glove World? It's just mentioned by SpongeBob. Well, SpongeBob is basically the father who is, when he mentions Glove World, he's basically trying to tell people, like, oh, this is my son, and he's a good kid, you know? He's trying to fix up the problems that the son caused for his reputation by telling people that he's a good son, he's a good kid. You know? Hey, I got 2 tickets to Glove World. Oh, the 2 tickets are actually pictures of his son, metaphorically speaking. Then, of course, we never see the son. That's because the son is still not ready to come back out in society again. So, then the child turns 8, and we get the episode Glove World Rest in Peace, which basically represents the father letting his son go out again for a 3rd time. Alright, son, I think I've taught you enough. I think we've gone through a lot of issues now, and I think you're ready to go out into the real world again. Alright, son. Good luck out there, man. I'll hear back from you. Can't wait to hear about good things you do. SpongeBob being in his library at home reading the book is basically him just waiting to hear how his son does. And several people end up crashing into his library in one of the roller coaster rides in the episode. This represents the people that have been hurt by the son, and they're going to tell SpongeBob about it, and tell him, and when the people tell SpongeBob that they're gonna close Glove World forever, that's basically the people telling the father that his son is gonna be taken away, like, forever by officials, because he's causing way too many behavioral issues that makes him not fit, that shows that he's not fit for society. The father obviously doesn't want anything bad to happen to his son, so he goes to Glove World to try and fix things. That's when we see the owner of Glove World, who represents an official who's ready to have the child taken away. When SpongeBob tells him to just let him ride the rides one last time for old Glove's sake, well, that's basically the father asking that to let him be with his son one time before he goes, before they take him away. The son, not knowing of this, is glad to say his father is there with them, but is hurting people. You know, he's still hurting people during this, which can be shown by all the rides malfunctioning and hurting lots of people. In the episode, SpongeBob tries to keep Glove World open by making everything nice so people wouldn't want it to close, but fails, unfortunately, and in the process ends up hurting so many people that everyone ends up going home. That's represented by that in the story. That's portrayed, but that means that in the story that means that the father was trying to help the son not get taken away by making the people like him. So he helps however way he can, but unfortunately the son still ends up scaring everybody off. And in the process, well, the child ends up pretty much dying from a condition known as physical exhaustion, or psychosis exhaustion, or something like that. You know, the thing that David from Sesame Street died from in real life, the actor, back in 1990. I forgot the name of the condition, but it's like something like that, basically, in the story. But however, the episode still continues, and at the end of the episode, SpongeBob changed himself to Glove World, even though it's closed and everything, and refuses to leave. And the owner tells him about Glove World. I mean, Glove Universe. But SpongeBob is unable to unchain himself, and the episode ends. This means, like, in the story, this is being told in the story that the father basically his son's dead and he's been buried, he's at the grave and everything, and the both transition cuts to him being at his son's grave even when it's already nighttime and past hours. Because he can't leave him. He's hurt too much by his son being gone. But the official, which is the owner of the park, tells him that he knows of this kid from this orphanage that's a lot like your son, but, you know, better. No malfunctions. Just like how Glove Universe appears to have no malfunctions. And you can go and adopt them. You can go and adopt them. It'll make you feel better. You can move on from your son and just keep him in your memory. SpongeBob wanting to go to Glove Universe, but can't because he's chained, is basically a metaphor for the father not being able to leave his son's sight at his grave because he's chained by his guilt to stay with him. Eventually, post-movie SpongeBob ends, which metaphorically means that the father had passed away, never moving on from his son. But the story does not end there. Post-sequel SpongeBob exists. Post-sequel SpongeBob is said to be pretty much like pre-movie SpongeBob, as a lot of writers return, as people have talked about SpongeBob in real life. And, well, so basically they're saying it's supposed to be similar to pre-movie SpongeBob, but not really. Still, of course, different, but, like, writers-wise. So, post-sequel SpongeBob is basically like the mother coming back after post-movie SpongeBob died, which is the father, because she was told by the officials that, well, the son, that the father that her ex-husband had passed away. So, yeah, but then she also ends up learning that her son is dead too. And instead of moving on and trying to use and trying to adopt the other child that the officials tell her about as well, which is basically the production crew being reminded that Glove Universe exists and that there's no Glove World. Instead of moving on and adopting the other child at the orphanage, the mother instead, well, seeing as how Glove Universe is not in post-sequel SpongeBob, and ever since season 10, we constantly see Glove World. Think about it for a second. Why do we still see Glove World if Glove Universe is here now and Glove World is dead? That's because the mother is having schizophrenic episodes that show her having a good time with her son. And she has them a lot, which is why we see post-sequel SpongeBob showing us a lot of Glove World episodes. Well, how come? How can that be? Because it's all fake. It's all going through her mind. Her guilt of abandoning her son and him passing away while she's gone made her believe fake stories that he is alive. And of course, it's not good for her. Instead of moving on and giving us Glove Universe, which is what I wanted, which would be good if you ask me, she's instead acting like Glove World is still alive and that she's with them, which is why SpongeBob is always going to Glove World instead of Glove Universe. But but it's not over there. There are so many bad things that happen while SpongeBob is at Glove World in episodes like SpongeBob's Bad Habit, Handemonium, and Escape from Beneath Glove World. Handemonium, no, SpongeBob's Bad Habit best represents my fake metaphorical story on Glove World's lore. In this episode, SpongeBob develops a bad habit, and that bad habit is basically a negative effect to all the schizophrenic episodes that the mother is having of her son. But instead of trying to get help, she's trying to take her mind away from it by having another schizophrenic episode, which is portrayed by Patrick taking SpongeBob to Glove World to take his mind away from the bad habit. But it fails. He's still biting nails. Eventually, he ends up getting help. This help was basically the habit of her biting her nail. The habit of SpongeBob biting his nails is metaphorically the mother's mind trying to tell her to get help and move on from her son already. But at the end, SpongeBob's habit is still there. In the actual episode, he's still biting nails and nothing is resolved. This is basically like the mother still has this in her mind. Like she's still having schizophrenic episodes and she is beyond help. She cannot get help. She tried getting help, but she's still loca in the head. Which is why we still constantly see Glove World and no Glove Universe. She's beyond help. She's beyond reality. She cannot come back. Her mind is gonna be like this until she dies. Which, when she dies, is when SpongeBob finally ends. I know what you're probably thinking. Why did I tell you guys all this? What does this mean? Well, it doesn't mean anything, really. This is basically just how I feel about the episode. Like, this is how this is how I feel about the whole Glove World thing. This is how I feel about the production crew bringing back Glove World instead of Glove Universe. This is basically, like, I've been constantly frustrated about this for years because for 5.5 years, I was waiting for Glove World to come back, and they brought back Glove Universe instead, and they've been doing it constantly, using it constantly as if Glove Universe doesn't exist. And I've just been wanting a good reason. And thinking about it, it made me feel as if... felt like coming up with a metaphorical story that explains the writers... that portrays why the writers and the story and Glove World's lore, basically. I don't know, I just thought this was a good story. Maybe you guys liked hearing me talk about it, but you're probably not even going to see this, but my goodness, I'm just glad to finally get this off my mind. Did you guys think it was a good story? Did I explain it well? Because you're only really going to get it if you've seen every single Glove World episode. Man, I've been constantly running this whole story in my head because seriously, I've been that upset about Glove World's lore being ruined by the post-sequel era that I just felt like I needed some type of metaphoric story to be able to explain it. And you notice how the whole story ends crazy-like with the mother and the father and everything? That's supposed to end terribly. Because that's to tell you guys how terrible of an idea it was for the production crew to bring back Glove World and never Glove Universe. Anyway, That's the end of this. I'm probably never gonna make anything like this again, and I hope you guys enjoy the story and understand that this whole thing was just me trying to get this whole thing off my chest. Man. Well, if you made this far, congratulations. Here's a video of something completely different. And if you want, I'll also put down here another video of me complaining something about SpongeBob. I doubt you've made it this far, but if you have, good job and enjoy the videos. Well, I'll see you guys some other time. Bye.